Morning freeze dryers, welcome back to the Live Life Simple Kitchen. Today we are making everyone's favorite super glue of the kitchen, cheese. And not just any cheese, we're making ricotta cheese today. All you need is 2 ingredients, milk and vinegar and an Instant Pot. And then we're gonna freeze dry it coming up. So the ricotta cheese we're making today, I have made many times. I have never freeze dried this, but I do know that it works really well on pizza, it works well on salad, it works well in lasagna, anything that you use ricotta cheese for. It's really easy to make, and we're gonna make 2 versions today. We're gonna make a dairy version, and we're also gonna make a non-dairy version, which might be interesting. So let's get started. The first thing we need is 4 cups of milk. We're gonna do the dairy version first, but there's really not a whole lot of difference between the two. I'm using whole milk today, and I would probably recommend using whole milk if you want the best consistency of product. We're gonna put our lid on, we're gonna seal the lid, and then we're gonna press the yogurt button until it goes to boil. We're gonna let this run an entire cycle, and then we're gonna check the temperature. And you'll probably notice that this feels eerily similar to our yogurt video that we did not too long ago, because it is very similar. Other than what you do to the end, we're actually gonna do a lot of the same stuff. We're gonna boil, we're gonna go to the same temperature. You're not gonna have to do a cold bath or an ice bath to cool it back down, but we are gonna add some vinegar, and we are gonna have to strain it just like the yogurt. Okay, our buzzer just went off. And it's been about 10 to 15 minutes to get that up to boil. We should be good. I use a candy thermometer or a meat thermometer like this, and we just want to be at 180 degrees. If it's at 180, you are good to go. If it's not, I would let it cool down, or I would put it in for a little bit longer to get it to go up to that 180. So I think we are good at this point. If and only if you're at 180, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm using apple cider vinegar. You can also use white vinegar, it doesn't matter. And then once that vinegar is in there, you're gonna stir this around, and you're gonna notice real quickly that the cheese is gonna start to look like it's curdling. That's what you want. Make sure you give this thing a good stir. You want all of the ingredients well mixed, and then we're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes. After this has had time to sit, you're gonna want a colander or something to strain this off. I put a colander in something that will catch some liquid as well, and then I take a cheesecloth. You can also use a towel, something that's going to allow the solids to stay at the top and the liquids to flow through the bottom. In this case, very similar to yogurt, and the bottom liquid is going to be away. The longer you let this drain, the thicker your ricotta is going to be. I like to try and get as much liquid off of it as possible. You're probably going to end up with about a cup and a half, like a cup or a cup and a half of ricotta cheese, even though you started with 4 cups of milk. The rest, of course, is going to be the whey at the bottom. You can use that whey for all kinds of different things. Just Google whey recipes, and you can use it for bread. You can use it for all kinds of baking things. You can use it to even water your plants. And there's our ricotta. You can see it's nice and thick. It's exactly how ricotta is when you buy it at the store. So our dairy version is 208 grams. Let's see if we can get our dairy-free version to turn out. For round 2, we're gonna do our non-dairy milk. I'm using soy milk. It's unsweetened. I would recommend using unsweetened and something that just doesn't have any type of flavor, unless you want ricotta that is the flavor of whatever kind of milk you're using. I'm taking the level up just a little bit. I'm doing 4.5 cups. We're also gonna use a little bit more apple cider vinegar, but everything else is gonna be the same. We're gonna run this through a boil. We're gonna pull it out. We'll add some vinegar, and then we will strain it through the cheesecloth. Our non-dairy turned out just a little bit different. Different texture for sure. I'm gonna let this sit for about half an hour. Well, our non-dairy yogurt, I have tried 2 different batches now, and I cannot get this to turn out, so I'm gonna call it a fail on my part. If you're a viewer and you've had success with non-dairy ricotta, please let me know what you do to make it turn out. Maybe it's the milk I'm using, I'm not sure. I did everything the same. I've followed other people's recipes even, and I can't get it to change. So, and that means we're gonna do just the dairy ricotta, and I threw some other stuff in with this that should not really affect the cycle time a whole lot, if at all. Just some mushrooms and some rice, things like that that aren't gonna really change a whole lot. And we'll see how long this ricotta takes us. This recipe, along with over 200 recipes, can be found at freezedryingcookbook.com. We also have a hard copy version now with over 100 recipes in it. That can be found on Amazon. The link can be found down in the description. Please consider subscribing to our channel. We do all freeze drying on this channel. While you're there, also click the bell to get a notification. That'll send you a notification every time a video comes out in the future. And if you like the content that we're putting out there, if you found this video helpful, let us know by hitting the thumbs up button. And if you have any questions about freeze drying, or you just got a freeze dryer and need to educate yourself, check out our Facebook group and our MeWe group, and that can be found at Retired at 40's freeze drying group. There's over 60,000 members at this point, and lots of knowledgeable people and tons of information. If you can't find it there, I'm not really sure where you can find it. And if you have not purchased a freeze dryer, you can check out these freeze dryers through our affiliate link found in the description. That sends us a small commission just for educating you and giving you the info and sharing what we love, to be honest. When you purchase through our affiliate link, it helps us greatly. It helps us keep this content coming. It helps us do giveaways in our groups. Almost weekly, we just did a huge giveaway of a freeze dryer over Christmas, along with tons of other stuff. It also helps us develop new products for freezedryingsupplies.com. Any of the products you've seen in this video can be found at freezedryingsupplies.com, so make sure you check that out. And now let's check out our freeze-dried ricotta. 22 hours and 50 minutes is how long our ricotta took. And it looks really nice, got nice and dry. And the weight on this now is about 74 grams. And I'm going to put this in one of my reusable Avid Armor containers, vacuum seal it. We'll figure out the calculations for water, and we'll see if we can get this thing to rehydrate into some delicious ricotta cheese. And you may notice something strange about my Avid Armor. They actually finally made a vacuum sealer hose for the accessories and for mason jars. And we're gonna talk about that in next week's video. And if my calculations are correct, we should need just about half a cup of water to make this ricotta go back to before freeze drying. I'm gonna try and rehydrate this in the Avid Armor. I'm curious to see what happens with things like cheese as opposed to like meat, what we did last week. So that was cool. I actually I chopped it up a little bit, put it back in, and then put it under vacuum. And you could see the whole thing kind of moving around. It was really interesting. And after I chopped this up into a finer powder, this actually rehydrated way better. So that's definitely the key for ricotta. You could probably throw it in a food processor like you do many things that will rehydrate better in a powder form like this. But you can see this is absolutely the way that it was before we put it in there. Let's give this a taste test. Another success. You can't tell that this was freeze dried, and it rehydrates awesome. And I really had my doubts about this. I didn't know if the texture would turn out right when rehydrated, but I did have another idea while I was doing this, and another use for ricotta is cannolis. So we'll definitely have to try that in a future video. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple. Catch you next week.